Welcome, nerds, to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm one of your co-hosts today, Darren Stimple. With me, as always, are my co-pilots, Eric Hare.
Greetings, everybody.
And Big Morg 3000, Morgan Santo.
Hi.
We have a first-time guest on the show with us today, great friend of the show, Bryant Casteel.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Per usual, you can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. And while you're there, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. You can also listen to us on all the other major podcast services. Every time we have somebody new on the show, we like to put them on the spot and ask them what kind of nerd they are. So, Bryant Casteel, what kind of nerd are you?
Yeah, man, I've been sweating this question because I know you do it.
There's no wrong answer. As we're all a nerd in our own way.
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
it's not anti-Luke Skywalker nerd.
Oh, that's the wrong answer. I'm not an anti. I'm pro Luke Skywalker. Especially when he's old and wise. And okay. Sorry.
Episode 8.
You're fine. You're good.
It's goofy milk.
So I'm a computer nerd. So there's that. That's my profession, is I'm a computer programmer, and that's a big part of my nerdiness, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm a speculative fiction geek, I think.
Ooh.
Which
Tell me more about that.
Man.
It's like the umbrella category for sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay.
And I just like I like fantasy worlds and like things that are like fleshed out enough that I can immerse myself in them.
Okay. I'll get Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. I think can I do the one where like you ask like how am I? Like the what are you and how are you? Because like I feel like my mom kind of introduced me to my geekiness. Like my mom was a math teacher, and she was like into Spider-Man comics. I got my first Spider-Man comics from her and collected those all through middle school and high school. She introduced me to Star Trek. She also listened to like all these books on tape when I was a kid of like what they now call the Legends universe of Star Wars, all those kind of extended novels and like Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker Guide. So I don't know, I've been like kind of immersed in geekiness since I was a kid. So
heck yeah.
Thanks for making me a geek one.
That's awesome. I love hearing the origins, Bryant's origin story. This is how you became a nerd. Maybe that might be like a good presence down the road where we talk about what kind of nerd we are and how we became that. That'd be awesome. I always like hearing the why behind something, So. Yeah. And dude, the Star Wars Extended Universe is some of the best freaking stuff out there.
I was little, so I don't have any like specific memories, except like every now and then when like somebody's name drops, I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I was little, so I don't remember it very well.
All good. It's good stuff. It's probably stuff that you'd probably enjoy getting back into if you had the chance. But yeah. Well, anyway, we as always have a fantastic show for you all today, where we'll cover some of the biggest news items on the rundown, and then we'll open up the Nerd Box and answer your questions. I always look forward to that. So let's get to the rundown. First on the rundown, we start with a bit of sad news, as Ivan Reitman has passed away sometime in the past week. I don't remember exactly when. It may have even been last week. But Ivan Reitman, best known as director of the Ghostbuster movies. But when you take a second to go look at his IMDb page, it is banger after banger, starting with movies like Meatballs and Stripes, all the way up, to the Ghostbuster movies, and then Twins. And, Eric, I know you're a big fan of all of his movies. How's this news, sit with you?
Yeah, it's pretty, it's sad. he wasn't very old, I mean, he wasn't like a super old guy when he passed away. So
he was 73.
75. Yeah, I think he was 75, which is, I mean, he lived a good life at 75. He's lived a good amount of time, but I just feel like that's a little too soon for him to be gone. I think one of the positive things about that is that he kind of got to pass, at least from the Ghostbusters perspective, kind of got to pass the baton off to his son, who did the latest Ghostbusters movie. So, but you're right. I mean, kind of going back to Meatballs was a pretty funny, him and Bill Murray did Meatballs together. That was a pretty funny movie. Stripes, hands down one of my favorite movies of all time. Just really, really great. I mean, how you turn a motorhome into an armored vehicle is freaking amazing. And then to put together, and I watched, we've watched the movies that made us and stuff like that, and so when they went through about Ghostbusters, it was really funny because, I mean, here you have, they've made Meatballs together, and I think they did, I think maybe they've done some other stuff, but they did Meatballs together, they did Stripes together, and then they go to do Ghostbusters together. And he's got no idea whether or not Bill's going to show up, So first day of shooting, Bill shows up, and you're like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, and then Twins is another one of my favorites. Kindergarten Cop. I mean, who doesn't love Kindergarten Cop? That's
infinitely quotable movies.
Yeah, and then I think like at the tail end, a super underrated movie, David Duchovny's Evolution.
Yes,
you guys ever
love that movie.
That movie is Orlando Jones and and then
so good.
Julianne Moore and then Sean William Scott.
Yeah, Sean Williams, great.
Yeah, and then I think I think the one that surprised me most, because he had done so much comedy stuff, that you get Draft Day, which towards the end of
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it was really his last major thing that he did. That's a great movie, but it's very much a drama. It's not a
or even
not a comedy.
6 Days, 7 Nights is an action. That's the one with Harrison Ford and Ellen's old lady, right?
Right. Well, it was his old lady too.
Oh yeah. And
Harrison and her were together for a while.
Yeah.
So all in all, I mean, the dude was infinitely talented, when it comes to comedy, when it comes to directing, and just a brilliant man. And, we're lucky to have gotten what we got from him. And again, like I said, I feel like it was kind of beautiful and kind of poetic that he was able to be around for his son to kind of take the baton with, what would, arguably could be his best property, which is the Ghostbusters series. So, or franchise, I should say. So, yeah. Morg, what about you? What do you think?
I mean, everything you said, I don't really have too much more to add to it. He was big. I mean, like you said, Ghostbusters, I mean, that's a big part of everyone I know live. You watch it every year around Halloween. Everybody loves it. The whole family can watch it.
Yeah.
It stinks. I'm sure he had one or two, more in him that we could have had, but hopefully his son could carry on the torch.
Yeah. Yeah. If nothing else, from the production side, he had directed a lot of stuff, but I think, after Draft Day, he kind of moved into more of a producer's role. And I think, maybe that, and even, even before then, he has way more production, credits as a producer than he ever did as a director or whatever, so, I think a lot of stuff that maybe a lot of people don't even know about, he's got his fingerprints in. So,
for sure. I didn't know he was part of, Beethoven. Those movies were big, old school Euro Trip.
Euro Trip.
So
Euro Trip.
big time.
Yeah.
Euro Trip is one of the
I haven't
most
seen
underrated
that
movies
forever.
of all time.
Seriously, yeah, and you know,
Matt Damon with what could
that was
arguably be
fantastic.
the best cameo ever.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't.
Scotty doesn't know. But he also did movies like so Junior was with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he got pregnant.
Yeah.
Very underrated movie.
Prophetic.
Yeah. Dave, which was with Kevin Kline, and it was one of the first times in movie history where they had an actor like the way they filmed it, an actor talking to the same actor. It was like groundbreaking effects. Bryant, Ivan Reitman, you know, just a legend, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that when someone passes away before their time, and especially like someone that's been so prolific. But I agree with everything.
Good word. I like
said.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that he was able to pass that torch, like you said, Eric, and that I hope that's it's nice that happened before he passed, also, so that like his son's able to like
enjoy it with
the pride that his father had in how he did with that Ghostbusters sequel. So
yeah, a real cool story from that was his dad. He was the first person he showed it to, and his dad, like the movie ended, lights came on, and he was like bawling because he was so proud of his son. That was really cool.
Totally.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Oh man! So next on the rundown, they're starting to balance it out with Trek nerds here. Morgan.
Yeah,
I know.
We're in some trouble.
I'll leave the show now.
I will. I'm going to pass this one off to our first-time host first. Star Trek 4 is confirmed. J.J. Abrams confirmed to produce. The cast, is that to return, Brian?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, so the joke there, right, for your listeners is that people, the cast didn't know that there was going to be a fourth movie until it was announced. And I guess there'd been some attempts at a fourth movie, and they've kind of swapped off script writers and directors a couple times and haven't found the sweet spot. And so their latest announcement, like the cast didn't know that it was a go. Like nobody's signed contracts, but they've been told that they're supposed to finish the movie by end of year. So it's pretty funny. Pretty funny transition.
Yeah, it's one of those things like better be showing up on day one, I guess. Like, if I want to get my check. Eric, fellow Trek nerd from Bryant, I know you're happy about that.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I really am.
There's more of you.
So there's, I mean, so I hope that they're able to get the whole cast back together. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Carl Urban,
Chris Pine,
John Cho. The whole gang. It would be awesome if we could get them all back together. I really enjoyed the last movie they did, Star Trek Beyond. I thought was a fun movie. It wasn't like anything kind of groundbreaking or anything, but to me it was like a really true Star Trek, Strange New Worlds type thing, where they went on an adventure and it felt very, very Star Trek-y compared to maybe the one before that was just kind of I wouldn't say a ripoff, but it was a reimagining of Star Trek 2, which is again another one that if you're not going to be able to do better, why do it at all? That type of situation. But for a lot of Star Trek fans, the J.J. Abrams era is kind of controversial, I think, because it definitely was more actiony than some of the previous imaginings of Star Trek, The Next Generation or even the original Star Trek series. And so, but it maybe is what's needed for the audience nowadays, versus what we had before. So, over the years, we've had rumors. Quentin Tarantino was rumored to be doing a Star Trek movie. The next Star Trek movie is supposed to be Quentin Tarantino.
It's like vanished
he wrote
from the existence.
he wrote a whole script. I mean, and he thought he was going to have something. I think there was somebody else from, I can't think who it is right now, but there was another really, really popular and up and coming director producer who had a script. And so
who was it? I do remember hearing that, actually.
Yeah. So this was a little bit of a surprise. They had talked about doing a one with Chris Hemsworth, who, in the first Star Trek movie that they did, played his father, played his father. And so they were going to do
before
something
he was even
lines.
Thor. It was like a crazy, like
he looks
before
skinny.
he got
ripped.
Thor, he was a dad in Star Trek. He was Star Trek.
He was a Trekkie first.
So I'm excited. I am excited about this one. I will tell you, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. So I have not really enjoyed Discovery all that much. Picard was a bit of a disappointment. I'll just say it was a disappointment to me. They took a character who always acts in a certain way and like kind of just did something different. Bryant, maybe you can, I don't know what your opinion of it is, and we haven't really talked about it, but Picard I was just disappointed in Picard. I was hoping for something better. So I don't know. It's like DC Comics stuff. I'll go watch it, so when the second season comes out, I'll be there every week watching every episode because that's just how I am, and I'll let them beat me up if it turns out to not be good. But I'm hoping they do something, because I have enjoyed this cast. I have enjoyed Chris Pine as Kirk. I love Zachary Quinto as Spock. I've really enjoyed his take on Spock.
That's a good job.
And Zoe Saldana as Uhura has been just dynamite. Like, they've really done a lot with her character, and kind of made her way more than even Nichelle Nichols was in the original series. So awesome in that respect. So yeah, I don't know. What did you think of? And we're not going to make it about Star Trek, but what's your take on Prime or on Picard?
Well, I think you're not wrong about it being disappointing. I did like. Well, you said like about Discovery. I think Discovery's had some ups and downs. I think there's some parts of Discovery that have been like the best Star Trek that they've made so far, but other parts that have been slow and disappointing. So like it's had some ups and downs, and I think Picard was a little bit that way. Like I had high hopes for Patrick Stewart coming back to it. I really liked the character development that they brought to him, of like being able to get behind like the trauma of being Borged, which I feel like they didn't do enough with that. It was cool to see more of it, but
they kind of glossed over it in the original series when they originally did it. So yeah. Hey, oh well, back to work. Sorry, you got kidnapped by the Borg and had your whole memories wiped and all that other stuff. Let's get back to work. We got another planet to go to.
But the whole plot was a little bit hard. Like it was a rough plot. I remember watching it with friends and like having to like stop frequently and be like, okay, what the heck's going on here again? So I don't know. They're making another season of that, so I hope it's good. We'll see.
We'll see.
But something that I think is good about Star Trek, though, like speaking of like immersive universes, like these Star Treks being more action oriented, like you mentioned, I think it's good for the franchise that they're being able to find different niches in it and not just make it all the same kind of Star Trek, like with the comedy show with Lower Decks, and I think Discovery tends to be a little bit more character driven than some of the other ones, and these J.J. Abrams, the Chris Pine ones, that's canonical now. Being more action oriented. I think that's good, and it speaks to the universe being rich, that there's room for different kinds of shows in the same.
I am looking forward to Strange New Worlds, Anson Mount. When I did watch Discovery, that was like a really big breath of fresh air, you know, with Rebecca Romijn on there. I was like, holy smokes, this is really cool. You know, like this is the only part of Discovery that I actually really enjoyed. So I'm excited that they're getting their own spinoff. So that's going to be.
I hope it's good. I didn't love Spock in that season, in second season. So
can't have it all.
That's true. Totally fair.
Can't have it all. So,
what about Chekhov though? Because I think that's something interesting. Back to the Star Trek 4, like Anton Yelchin.
I was Anton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin
passed away, right?
Yeah.
And J.J. Abrams says they're not going to recast Chekhov, and he's a pretty big part of that crew. So I think that's interesting.
Was he in all three? I don't remember when he passed away.
He passed away right after they filmed 3.
Oh, I do. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, he was killed in a car accident, a really bizarre car accident situation where the parking brake on his car didn't hold, and he was crushed in between his garage and his.
Oh my gosh!
It was really, really freak. It was a really freak accident. So,
jeez.
So really sad, and you know what? I mean,
he was so talented. Man.
He really was. He really was. I enjoyed him in the Terminator movie. I thought he was actually pretty good in that. And, you know, so you know, I'm not upset. It's going to be a big loss to lose Chekhov. You know, they'll have to figure out something different, but you know, and that's one of the nice things about that series is that they always do a great job of everybody playing a role and having an important role in, you know, because it's a crew. It's not just Kirk doing what Kirk does, and it takes everybody. It takes the guys in engineering. It takes the doctor. It takes the you know, communications. It takes the navigator. It takes the pilot. You know, it takes all those people to make that ship run. You know, and I think that's and so with that, when you have a diverse cast of people and a diverse cast of personalities, you know, there's an endless supply of drama that could be, you know, as far as conflicts and resolutions and all that stuff. And then you know, move them from planet to planet, you know, week to week or whatever. And it allows you to try. And I think that the beauty of Star Trek, at least for me personally, is it allows you to have a deep examination of human issues that you can dress them up as an alien over here, and it's a total stand-in for something in real life here, you know, like where one people doesn't like another people because of some sort of way they do business or whatever. And so you can look at those conversations and really kind of take the emotion out of it and say, it's clear that this is not right. Like I don't care what your morals are. This is not a right situation. So Star Trek was able to kind of distance themselves from those things but still get the moral, you know, the moral stuff across. And I think that's one of the things plus the science stuff is really cool too. So, but yeah.
You're gonna need a cold shower.
Sorry. Down.
I knew it was gonna happen when I threw this on. I was like, we got 2 tracks. Trekkies. I'm gonna let them fly. Fly, Trekkie, fly. We'll move on so Eric can get his blood pressure down a little bit. But next on the rundown, we have the early reactions for the Batman, who is going to be the subject of our presents later on. So this is our chance here to talk about what we're seeing so far from this movie, where our hype meter is. I'll start with you, Morgan. The reactions were really, 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 really great. Like sounds like we may have a masterpiece in our hands. I'm hyped. I was hyped with the first trailer. The second one had me scared. Then the Bat and the Cat trailer, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is it. This is gonna be it. I was like, I can tell. And then you're hearing all of these reactions. I'm like, I'm excited. I'm hyped. I'm gonna be there day one. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Batman later. It's gonna be a really fun present show. Eric, Batman early reactions are hailing this as like even better than the Dark Knight. You think this is a little hyperbole?
Whoa, yeah, that's let's be careful. I'll be careful. I'll be careful around that. I mean, The Dark Knight is truly a cinematic masterpiece. It really was just a phenomenal movie. So, but like I agree with Mork, the trailer, the more I see of this movie, the more. I think that first one I was like, I don't know, but then the more I see of this, the more I'm like, okay, I see what they're trying to do, and I'm on board with it. I'm really looking forward to it. I am hoping to see it this week. I really am. That's I've got some stuff coming up this coming weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but
next weekend.
Yeah. Is it the 3rd? Is that when it comes out?
I think.
4th. Yeah.
4th, 5th.
Yeah, so it'll be out
a week from today.
Next Friday.
When you're listening to this show on Monday when it comes out, it will be this upcoming weekend. So I guess you're right in that.
Yeah, he was right. He was right.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, I may try and sneak in a midnight show on the 3rd. I may try one of those
3-hour show.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Up late.
Yep.
Bryant's early reactions got you hyped?
Yeah, I think it's great news that early reactions are positive. So the trailers look fantastic.
Definitely not bad news.
I think it's really encouraging to hear that early reactions are positive, and certainly reinforces my impression from watching the trailer that it looks really good.
Yeah. Just when you think you kind of like had enough of Batman, you're like, you're not, and then now it's another Batman movie with a new Batman. You're like, then
one more continuity.
Yeah. It's just like, man,
good, so.
is Batman going to be oversaturated here? But then, just like Al Pacino says, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. So I cannot wait for this movie. I cannot wait to talk about Batman in our presents. But next on the rundown, also exciting news. We get our first movie still from Christopher Nolan's new movie, Oppenheimer. Eric, I'll just pass this one off to you. We got a full cast revealed, banger of a cast, more people than we expected. Tell us a little bit more about Oppenheimer.
Yeah, the father of the atomic bomb. So I don't know a ton about how the plot of this is going to go, but we're getting Cillian Murphy is going to be playing J. Robert Oppenheimer. His wife Catherine Oppenheimer is going to be played by Emily Blunt.
My wife.
And then we've got and then we've got a pretty stacked supporting cast, around him. So from a physicist perspective, the people that are around him that are going to be playing other physicists, at least that we've kind of found out about, are RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Lewis Strauss. And then Benny Safdie is going to be playing Edward Teller, who Edward Teller then goes on a little bit later after they've built the atomic bomb to then go on create the hydrogen bomb, which is much more devastating and powerful. And then we get Matt Damon is playing Lieutenant General Leslie Groves, who, if you watch the earlier kind of movie, there was a movie a while back called Fat Man and Little Boy that was Groves was played by Paul Newman. Having Damon be in there, but I don't know. I don't really know how old Groves was when that was done. But I'll be interested to see how that kind of shakes out too, because Groves is really the guy who kind of pulls the strings and kind of, moves everything around. And then Oppenheimer was, the lead guy on the scientist side of things. But, such an amazing project, such, devastatingly terrible in its final iteration that we, had to do. We had to have these bombs and have to have these weapons. So, So, but it's an interesting story. I think it needs to be told. I think, the devastation and the power of these weapons really needs to be not forgotten. So, but we're going to get Matthew Modine's in it. Josh Hartnett is back, which I'm like super excited that Josh Hartnett is back in acting again. I think that's really great.
Seen him in a long time.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh.
Was he just in something? He was just in something recently.
He was. Well, he's gonna be he's in the trailer for that movie with is that the one with what's his name? The British guy. You're a British guy. You're a British dancing guy. What's that you love so much?
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Thanks. I think he's in that one.
You're British dancing.
My British dancing boy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Kenneth Branagh's in it. Florence Pugh, who we all know from Black Widow, isn't it? Rami Malek. I think I already said him, but yeah. So it's cast is huge. It looks amazing, and I love the story.
Florence Pugh, she's the new Black Widow of the MCU. Yep. Jack, did you say Jack Quaid? Dane DeHaan?
I did not. I did not say Jack Quaid. I forgot him.
Yeah, so Jack Quaid is the nerdy guy on The Boys, son of Dennis
Meg
Quaid.
Ryan and Meg Ryan, Dennis Quaid.
My birthday buddy, Dennis Quaid. So if there's anybody that can bring the intensity of an atomic bomb to the screen, I think Chris Nolan is a guy who will make you feel the intensity. Morgan, you excited for this movie?
I am. Yeah, I like anything involving, World War II, especially. Hopefully, what this will be, a somewhat accurate take, but I'm sure it'll be stylized a little bit. But the stuff people don't talk about, or the stuff you don't really see. That's what I like to see. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. We have a saying on the show now because of Meg. Thanks, Meg. We're all parents here. Bryant, do you think this would be a babysitter movie or a movie you watch at home?
That's a great question. I mean, almost everything's a watch at home movie for me, but just because I don't have a go-to babysitter. Otherwise, we'll probably have more theater movies. I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to understand. Like, I think of this as a science story, and so it's hard for me to like totally wrap my head around a really dramatic take. But with the cast that we've got and the director, like it seems like it will be worthy of the big screen. I would guess, and I think Christopher Nolan's got. I mean, like with Interstellar, he can make really science heavy movies and like do it the science justice. And I don't know how that balances out with the plot justice sometimes, but I don't know. So I think it'll be really interesting, and I don't really know what to expect from it. I saw the old movie that Eric mentioned, The Fat Man and Little Boy, but it was like back in high school, and like my memories of it are very much like I watched this to learn the story of history in a dramatic way that was easier for me to understand, right? So like it's a history lesson in my head is how I think of it. But like I said, the creators and the cast are really big names, so hopefully it's
definitely sets like it gives you the confidence. Like if I go to the theater, I probably am going to see a return on investment.
I agree.
Excited. Definitely we'll be covering this more and more as the movie comes. They're still shooting it, so it's not even we're a long way off, but be glued to our screens when it does come out. I think it comes out maybe later this year, like late year, maybe. I don't know. But last on the rundown, we have a trailer rundown. Not a big week for trailers. We love covering our trailers, and in a week where we get 2 trailers and they're lackluster, in my own opinion. It's disappointing, and I'm not entertained. So I'm not too happy about it. But we got a couple interesting trailers. First one being Brad Pitt's Bullet Train. Why it's interesting, not the trailer at all. The movie itself is interesting. This is another banger of a cast. So what we got from it wasn't much, but I'll start with you, Bryant. Brad Pitt's Bullet Train.
Yeah. I really like Brad Pitt, so like as soon as I know it's Brad Pitt, then
Who doesn't like Brad Pitt?
yeah.
Would love to meet that person.
It's true. But like watching the teaser trailer, like if you hadn't told me this is a teaser trailer for a movie, I would have totally zoned it out and thought I was watching a commercial. And like it's only that final scene that like gives you the ominous feeling of what it seems like the movie might really be about. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a like start of a hint that maybe there's like something cool going on besides snakes on a train or whatever. But, hopefully it's not that.
That's what it's gonna be.
It felt like sometimes you see like actors do these European commercials.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it
like
felt
Matthew
like watching
McConaughey
it.
in his whiskey commercials, and it's like maybe this is really just a train commercial. I don't know.
Like this is Brad Pitt went to Japan.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt needed a paycheck and went to Japan and got like a $1 million to do a bullet train commercial. Yeah, times are tough. The inflation. Morgan, what do you think of this cast too?
The cast is good, but as far as like what I hate when they do little teasers like this because it just left me with nothing. I was like, okay.
He was like, empty inside, like, people.
I need to see more. It's just like, all right, Brad Pitt's doing something. He looks cut up. Sandra Bullock's in it, so maybe this is like a speed thing. That'd make me happy.
Oh, it's Speed 3. Speed 3.
Yeah. The bullet train can't go less than 300 miles an hour.
Actually, that sounds
have
awesome.
5 minutes to figure this out because we'll be there by then.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That sounds amazing. I want to see that movie. Honestly, it wasn't a movie that I was like, oh, Brad Pitt's new thing, and I watched it. I was like, what the hell is that? And then I was like, it interested me enough to go look at the cast. And once I saw the cast, I was like, this needs to be on the rundown. Sandra Bullock, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, I'm trying to think for a non-nerd, what you would know him for. But the first Godzilla movie, I guess. Brian Tyree Henry, who you know from the Eternals. Zazie Beetz, who you know from Deadpool 2 and the Joker movie, which I didn't see, but I know she's in there. Lady Gaga, she's been blowing up Hollywood lately, and Michael Shannon. Eric, that's a banger of a cast.
Yeah, well, shoot, we got Hiroyuki Sanada is back.
I didn't see that either.
Masi Oka, for those of you who watched Heroes, is great. My man Brian Tyree Henry is in there as well. And so the premise of the movie apparently is 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train find out their missions have something in common. So it sounds like they're all on a train and maybe they got to
go under 300 miles an hour.
Which one do we think's going out the window?
Maybe they got to kill each other or something, and who knows? So
they'll end up fighting on top.
Yeah, it's directed,
a bullet train.
It's directed by David Leitch, so you guys may have seen some of his stuff. He's done Atomic Blonde. He did Deadpool 2, which is a small independent film, and then he also did another niche film called the Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw movie. So
that's right. Okay,
that one.
Yeah. So
I knew there was
it's an obscure. It's an obscure one. So but yeah. So I mean, I think it looks interesting. The cast, it strikes me as at least from reading who people are playing in the movie, strikes me as Quentin Tarantino-ish in that, Brad Pitt's character is Ladybug, and then one of the other characters' name is Tangerine, and the other one's Lemon. So it's like everybody's, gets to be Mr. White or Mr. Orange, but Buscemi complains for being Mr. Pink, but whatever. So, but yeah, so I don't know. The teaser was interesting because like you said, it was like a generic commercial, and then you get a good look at Pitt sitting on the bullet train, and it looks like he's having a rough go. He's having a rough day. So, but yeah.
And Brad Pitt needs to have an episode too. He get put on the list of just classic Hollywood men. Like everything he's done has just been gold.
I just watched a rewatch.
How can somebody be so talented and so handsome?
Yeah, right. I just watched. I just rewatched the Big Short the other day, and he's got a small role in that, but but he's really great, and he just his range is a lot bigger than people think. I think with him, so I think he's pretty great. So
he was so amazing in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
The other trailer came out again. It was like I watched it. It felt like you, Morgan, felt empty inside. But what has my interest in it is it's a movie that can replace Encanto for
yeah,
true.
But also it has Sam Rockwell as the lead voice, and I will watch Sam Rockwell do anything. So I was like, I think that's Sam Rockwell, and then it finally then you can't hear it once you hear it, and you're like, oh hell yeah, Sam Rockwell.
Right.
Morgan, is this something that is going to be a Friday night movie or babysitter movie?
This is I'll wait till it's at home. I don't know. Like
I'm gonna take D out on a date.
Yeah, it looks funny.
But did I say the movie? I don't think I said the movie.
The bad guys.
Yeah, bad guys.
They did, yeah.
It's an animated movie.
It looks funny, but like I don't know. I felt like I was just missing something when the trailer. I was like, I don't know. Just saying at me.
It did feel. It felt like I was I don't know if I thought they were going to break out in song. I don't know if that's just me and my Sing 2 bias, my recency bias towards Sing 2, but it felt weird. Eric, is this getting put on the library at some point in the near future?
Oh, it'll be dude, I've got 2 kids under 8, so it's they'll get some of my money for sure. So I don't know. This may be one that I take the kids to, depending on what their hype level is once they see the trailer for it. But I don't know. I may take the kids to see it, but we'll see. So, but I let my kids pretty much watch whatever. So,
Inglourious Bastards.
Well, not quite Tarantino. That's where I do draw the line. At Tarantino, but
Bryant, is this on your radar?
It wasn't. It is now. I'm the opposite. I'm pretty picky with what I let my kids watch, and like first watch of the trailer is like there's like all these kids movies where like I feel the same. I haven't watched Sing 2 or Sing 1, but like the same thing. Watching the trailer, it's just noise in my and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want my kids watching that, and I don't want my kids acting like these characters and mimicking them. And I've heard that Sing 2 is good, and I'm probably wrong about it, but like that's my impression from the trailer. It's like, oh no, this is like my kids are gonna be bonkers and being insane weirdos for a week after they see this, and that's my first impression of this trailer too. Is that like, oh man, this is like a bunch of not role models that I want my kids to emulate. But
it is a weird feeling.
Yeah. So I did a little looking into it though, and it is based on a comic book of the same name, and it's a kid's comic book. And I guess there's some good moral lessons in the comic book that like this comes across in the trailer, but like Sam Rockwell's character, Mr. Wolf, like really turns good, but his crew doesn't. And so he's constantly trying to like convince them and trick them into actually doing good things, but having to like frame it as if they're doing some kind of heist, even though he's trying to get them to do good things. So like there might be some redeeming values in it. It's definitely not a babysitter movie, like, but I would consider watching it with my kids if it seems like there's some good redeeming values in it.
It is interesting, like marketing a movie to kids where it's like here's the bad guy. The bad guys are the good guys. It's hard, it's mixed messaging.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, right? Because you got to get the parents to pay for that, so you got to
right.
make a movie that's not too annoying for the parents.
I mean, there's some parents that they'd be like, yeah, I'm first in line for this movie.
That's true.
So I teach my kid to be huge bullies, but
Pixar and Disney do such a great job, with like Wreck-It Ralph. Is that exact thing where it's that? I mean, the guy is a villain, like but
I'm a bad guy.
I'm a bad guy, but not bad guy.
Bad guy.
Seriously, like one of the best lines in anything.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting coming out. So that's a rundown. However, I do have a callback to last week's rundown, where the news about the Marvel Netflix shows leaving Netflix on February 28th. It is now confirmed that they are moving to Disney Plus. And why is that significant? Because they're not Disney Plus material. And so it's going to be interesting to see if we get some kind of
the adult section.
I wasn't thinking adult section, but I
like a little curtain in the corner of the Disney Plus menu that you have to go through.
You have to put in an extra code to get there. And I don't know. It'd be interesting if they upload those shows on Disney Plus without editing them. I think that's pretty significant progress, maybe for lack of better terms, by Disney.
Does that open it up for the possibility that they could be brought back into canon?
So with the multiverse coming in to play throughout the last year, through WandaVision, through Loki, through Hawkeye, through Spider-Man No Way Home, now moving into Multiverse of Madness, everything Marvel's done is canon. And I think we got a big tease of that with Charles Xavier in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer with Patrick Stewart, and obviously the other multiverse variants that we've been able to see on screen over the last few months. Mm-hmm. Because I think Loki really started setting up the multiverse and then got you as the audience used to the term variant, so that when you see Kingpin show up in Hawkeye, spoiler alert, but when you see Kingpin from the Marvel Netflix shows show up in Hawkeye Disney Plus, you're like, oh, it's a different universe. So, and now we're going to see the multiverse collide, and who knows if the Multiverse of Madness is like really just the beginning of us seeing more multiverse stuff, or are they going to, after that, combine it all and we just have one universe moving forward? So it'll be interesting to see what that sets up. I'm very excited about it. But I don't know, quick thoughts about the significance of those Marvel Netflix shows on Disney Plus, Morg.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's big. I think they will do kind of what Brian said, is they'll have like a grown-up section, a more mature section that may be behind like a code wall that you have to get into. Because I feel like they would have to, and that's if they don't change the shows or edit them somehow. Because I would be shocked, because I mean, some kid's going to click on it at some point.
There's a lot of sex in the Punisher series. Like, we were watching that recently. I was like,
graphic.
Oh, that's a full-on butt right there. So, Eric, thoughts on Marvel Netflix shows coming to Disney Plus?
I think it's neat that. I think it's good that they're finally getting everything under one banner. The fact that it's moving to Disney Plus, I mean, that's just their streaming arm. So, that's where things are going to be, which is fine too. I think having it all but like I said, having it all owned and operated by one central thing is going to be good for everything moving, kind of moving forward. And having all those characters in the back, because, for those of you who haven't watched Spider-Man yet, there's a character that appears in that, so like you said earlier, and then when we have Kingpin show up in Hawkeye, it's great. I think at least, I know 2 characters for sure that I take that back. 3 characters, maybe 4 characters out of that whole thing I can't wait to see more of. And if we could get more series of just them by themselves would be pretty cool. But the Daredevil characters, the whole cast there at the Daredevil, I think was really great. I'd love to get more stories from them. So if they do that, that's great. If they choose not to, I understand, I get it. It is what it is. So, but I'd love to see more Frank Castle, and I don't know how Disney does that. I don't, that's going to be a tough one, but I'd love to see more Frank Castle. I'd love to see more Matt Murdock. I'd love to see more Kingpin stuff. And, I wasn't a big January Jones fan, but isn't that January?
Jessica Jones.
Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah.
January Jones is the
she's
gal
an actress,
from the X-Men. She's the gal from the X-Men. Yep. So, so I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's good. All in all, it'll be good for the franchises. So
and good for Disney Plus. I mean, it's nothing but great news there. Brian, are you caught up on those shows? Is this something that's on your radar as well?
I'm mostly caught up on those shows. But yeah, it's on my radar. I mean, I watched all the Daredevil. I thought it was an amazing series. It's sad that it was over. And I feel like I've got both the services of Netflix and Disney Plus. So as a viewer, I don't care which app it's in. Right. But it does give me a little bit of hope that these aren't the orphan children of Marvel that they've disowned and want to pretend they didn't.
Right.
Gives me some hope that they're going to keep investing, if not in the series, then at least in the characters. But maybe ideally the series, because I thought they were good, and they had some downsides in a couple of them, which we could pick apart. But overall, I liked the collection of shows that they made. So
yeah, well, we're gonna have a full on present show. Now we're going down the Loki Boney range there. A full-on present show around the Marvel Netflix shows, and multiple of them, because there's so many. I don't think we could do it all in just one show, but it is a good thing to get caught up on those if you're not, because they're fantastic. At minimum, Daredevil, Punisher, even Luke Cage first half of season 1 was really good. Jessica Jones first season was incredible with the David Purple Tennant. Man. Yeah, Purple David Tennant. Yeah. Yeah, Purple Rain. Do you
think we're going to get Dolph Lundgren's Punisher on Disney Plus?
Might as well.
That's what we need.
And I'm just waiting for that
slippery slope,
1994 Fantastic Four movie that never got released to get thrown on. Let's open up the NRDbox, see what's in there. We got something from recent hosts of the show. Shout out to Meg Bradbury, kicking ass on the rundown and on the presents last couple weeks. She writes in, she's like we said this before, she's really becoming a big time nerd when she's getting down into questions like this. She's she wants to know, whose sidekick would you most like to be? Either taking the place of one that already exists or becoming one for a character who doesn't already have one. So either you could be a Bucky Barnes, or you could go be who doesn't have a freaking sidekick these days? I mean, I feel like everybody's got a sidekick these days. Anyway, you understand the question. I'm going to start with first-time co-host Bryant Casteel.
I'm honored. I'll tell you who. So the trick with this one is that I don't want to get killed as the sidekick. Yeah. So need somebody who's gonna set me up for success. So Batman is straight out. Too many Robins die. Yeah.
one's too many, but I think there's like a few of them, right? A couple of them at least.
I would pick Iron Man in the MCU version of Iron Man because I feel like he really sets Peter up. I feel like Peter is his sidekick in a way.
In the MCU,
I mean, he's kind of got more. I mean, Rhodey's kind of his sidekick in a way too, and then he's pretty good to his sidekicks. You know, he sets them up with some pretty good gear, and like Peter has no idea what any of those suits do that he gets, and yet like they pretty much protect him. So I feel like if I were Iron Man's sidekick, I'd probably survive. Mm-hmm. So that would be my choice.
Yeah, and you get to like sleep in good hotels too when you travel.
Yeah.
Morgan, whose sidekick would you most like to be?
This one was tough. I honestly I'm gonna go with I'd like to be like Robin.
Classic.
Yeah, it's just classic. I think it would be
You're braver.
Interesting.
That's what that means.
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure to avoid Joker and
call in sick those days.
Yeah, it's like
it's like you got the Gray Sports Almanac on, not to show for work.
Yeah. Wait, where's he located? No, I can't go. No, I think Robin would be a good choice, and then I can get set up into being Nightwing.
He's the other billionaire, so you chose the other billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously I want somebody with money.
You got a non-billionaire as a choice?
Nope.
Eric?
Oh, you're talking to me. Sorry. I thought you were still talking to him. So.
Oh, yeah, no, Eric.
Yeah. Bryant kind of got me thinking, because I was thinking Robin also, but I was like, man, that's kind of overplayed. But Bryant got me thinking, I would love to be War Machine. I feel like War Machine is Iron Man's sidekick, and like that would be cool. Like, again, I always pick the practical, like just a normal guy, doing stuff. And so I think like having I'd love to be Iron Man's sidekick, but I'd be War Machine. Like, I think that would be, again, don't want to get killed, but I like my odds. Like with that suit and with all the stuff that he carries, I like my chances, I really do. So, yeah, War Machine.
War Machine is such, I don't feel like the MCU's really done War Machine justice. He's a badass in the comics.
Yeah.
And he even had he got his own comic run for a very long time. He was a big part of the West Coast Avengers. I think the recasting of Terrence Howard may have hurt, just what they were going to do with him. I don't know, he's getting his own show now, so it's not like he's totally going away. He's heading up Armor Wars, which is a Tony Stark comic run, which was amazing, where, people steal his technology. And so he's got to create better technology. And it's one of the classic Iron Man storylines. I'd say it's up there with his first confrontation with Mandarin and Devil in the Bottle storyline, which is a really great one where he's an alcoholic. But I like you. So, I like kind of going with the billionaire theme here. I'm going to choose, I'll be Wonder Woman's sidekick, because at some point, I'm going to get up in that,
I knew that's it.
I'm just going to.
I got a feeling if you're the sidekick, you're in the friend box.
Like, someday I'm going to wear her down.
Chris Pines kind of a sidekick of her, so in the movie. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
So,
hey, I like to think positively here.
Yeah,
swear it down. Swear it down at some point.
Are there any heroes that give superpowers to their sidekicks? That'd be a good feator if you got
Thanos,
to be endowed with powers. Villains. We didn't talk about the sidekick of a villain, but that's a thing.
Yeah. There's a lot. I feel like Podcast Brain really is going to kill me on that. answer, but maybe a question down the road. Is there about? I feel like there is, and I just can't think of it right now. But great question, Meg.
Yeah,
I know she's kind of been into the Sidekick gang lately. But good question, Meg. Thanks for sending that in. Send in your questions. You can find us again on our social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at the Nerd Rundown. You can submit those questions through Facebook, as most of our audience pretty much knows us personally. So just send it in however you want. We love answering those questions. My neighbor, Bryant, first time host on the show.
Thanks again.
Did you
for
have a good
having me.
time?
Yeah.
You did a great job.
I
hope I didn't
great
ruin the
job.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
viewers
podcast
might not even
rated
know
all.
I was on because you're gonna have to edit out all my sequences.
Nah, it was good.
no.
Good.
You know.
These new hosts, they come on, they don't get podcast rating.
Yeah, I don't
they think
get
they're, shit, whatever. Okay, it'll happen. It'll really happen when we ask you some really tough questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for coming on, Brian.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, buddy. Listen, let's go jump on the presents. All about Batman. Can't wait to talk Batman about with you guys. And with that being said, see y'all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
Doses.
I'm down.
See ya. Bye.